Greetings, everyone. I'm Mar. Once again, this is my opinion. You can tell from the title there. I'm continuing my trek through the series Everybody Loves Raymond, one episode and one season at a time. We're now in the penultimate episode of Season 9 and the series as a whole. This is episode 15. This is Pat's Secret, another episode by Tucker Colley. Now, last season, we got an episode where Pat and Raymond bonded while doing the puzzle. Now here, we get a little bit more lore with Pat because we find out she has a secret, as the title implies. And it is something that, at least for her, is so scandalous, she has hidden it for almost 3 decades. Now the family is gathering for a birthday. Everyone shows up, and it's the usual banter that we get with these characters to set up a situation where they love being around each other, but they don't like some of the drama that entails. I'm not going to beat it over the bush. Those of you who have watched the show to this point in it know what drama I'm talking about. And if not, just watch random clips of the characters interacting in a dramatic comic moment and you'll get what I mean. Now, Hank and Pat are staying at Frank and Marie's house, and they're going to stay in Amy and Robert's room. Well, the interaction when they come goes bad because Robert open-mouthed instant foot. Later at night, he's still having trouble sleep because he's still beating himself over it, which, given how we've seen Robert throughout this whole show, we can kind of see why. A line he said in one episode comes to mind to describe what he's probably thinking in his head. "Stupid idiot moron!" And we see him even mumbling about it when he goes downstairs to the kitchen. But then all of a sudden, something hits his nose. He goes outside and he finds Pat. Right away, we the audience can see, okay, Pat's not normal out there. Then when she finally opens her mouth, out comes smoke. And she talks with Robert and she tells her son-in-law that this is her one secret bad habit, that she smokes. Now the reason she keeps it a secret is because Hank, he works at a school and his specialty is health. So just with that, you can already see what would happen. He would beat her over the head with it. It's like, don't you know how bad that is? It's bad for your lungs. It's bad for your health. Which, yeah, okay. But the way and the amount of times he would do it, it's like, ooh. Now, while they're talking and all that, they begin to bond a little bit, and Robert smokes a cigarette with her. Now, before he goes upstairs, we all know where it's going to happen. He gets found out. First by Amy. She follows him out in the hall and is talking to him loudly. Wakes everyone up. And then it just goes from there. Marie overreacts like you expect she would. Especially since she has always wanted to check to make sure they don't smoke. When at this point it's like, Marie, he's a grown-ass man. If he wants to start smoking, regardless of how bad it is for your health, he can do it. At this point in the show, he's almost 50 years old. If he wants to take up smoking at this point, he can take up smoking. Even if it's in your house, if he's not smoking inside your house, I mean, you can get uppity about that if you want, but the fact that he is smoking, no. Which, as I was watching, this is one thing about the episode that really hasn't aged well. I mean, even in the time when it was made, I'm like, I don't know if this is that good. And that is that the way that they're overreacting, and I mean everybody when they get in there. Except maybe Hank. Hank is a little overreacting when he gets in there and doing his old spiel about health and all that. But at least since he's a health teacher, you can kind of get it. Even then, he overblows it. But the way everyone is reacting and the jokes and all that Ray makes, you would think he got caught smoking weed with Pat. Which, I think that would have made this episode a little bit more timeless and would have made a little bit more sense. And plus, it would have given them another thing for them to kick Robert on. It's like, you're a cop and you got caught smoking weed? Nowadays, depending on where in the country you live, it might not be that big a deal unless you got caught smoking weed on duty, which that is a big no-no regardless of where you work, if you get caught smoking on the job. But as I'm watching, it's like, this would have made a lot more sense if it was marijuana that he got caught smoking and not the tobacco. But then again, I know part of the humor is the fact that, well, at least with Marie, she likes to overblow everything. But at least with marijuana, it would make a little bit more sense for me. And maybe Frank might have been a little mad too, because he's a little different, which is part of the humor. And there's some other stuff like, smell your son, and he gets like a dog, like, no, not that way. And of course, would have made Ray's little jokes and the smirk on his face make a little bit more sense, like, Robert. And then of course, the brother-in-law would have made him saying, I didn't know you were cool, make a little bit more sense. And plus, it would have made the secret of Pat's a little bit more secretive. Because it's one thing her smoking tobacco, but imagine it'd be scandalous if she was smoking weed. And plus, that's another reason why she has to go a couple counties over to buy it. Because not only does she not want people to know she's smoking, she doesn't want people who know her to know she's smoking something that at the time was illegal. Now, nowadays, depending where you are, if they had done it that way, it wouldn't be as big a deal unless you know your historical context or watch it with that. But it would have added a little bit more of that, ooh, scandal for everyone involved. That's just me looking at it. There actually is a part where they mention if he was smoking pot and all that, which that was after I was thinking like, I wonder if they were going to do it with marijuana, but then they were shot down. I'm still thinking that they might have initially come up with this idea with that, but they were told, yeah, the censors would not allow that. Even if it's just the smoke and them doing that, they're not going to allow it on the network. So they had him do that, and then they threw in that line about it to show that, oh yeah, it would have been a little bit worse for him, but it's one of those things like, it would have been a lot better. Now, the humor of everyone having an overblown reaction about it does work, and the characters pulled off well. The part of it, though, that makes me just want to a little bit is Marie's, even though it is something we would expect. And part of that, I think, is, as I mentioned in episode reviews past, by this point in the show, they're really starting to Flanderize her with how she overreacts and how they total reset any character development they give her, even though, as I've said before, that's right, sitcom writing. It's just, however, the thing that really helps make this episode beyond its premise for me is the ending part, where just about everyone reveals they have a secret that helps them. My favorite is Hank's, actually. Pat has her smoking, which the big little reveal is about. She does it to cope with their relationship in order to deal with him and his idiosyncrasies, which from the beginning we saw with Hank. And I do like this little development with Pat. It shows that she's not just a meek little mother that will do everything her husband says because she's so meek and it's in the Bible type of character we thought she was. It's that she did that to avoid any confrontation, but now she's standing up for herself, and I just love it that she goes out there. And of course we find out that Hank isn't so picture perfect when it comes to this, because how does he decompress? Fireworks. Because apparently in his job as a teacher he confiscated some fireworks one time and set them off, and he liked it. So he has to go out of state to buy them. I don't know, in West Virginia that means they're legal there, but I wouldn't be surprised if when this episode was made it was legal. Or if it's not so legal, which, another reason why they should have had it is marijuana instead of tobacco, but getting off that dead horse. And the whole thing there. And of course Ray driving around the block listening to music. And of course Amy turning one of the things that Robert puts in a particular way, a different way. And him noting that and being like, that was you? All the little stuff like that. All makes this episode. The part that really pisses me off, and this ties back into Marie, is like, she attempts to take the moral high ground. Her and Frank. Which Frank, I get why he does this because he's playing off of Marie with it, but Marie trying to take the moral high ground. It's like, Marie, with all the shit you have stirred over the years and you continue to stir at this point in the show, you do not have the moral high ground in this situation. I mean, communication is important, and a lot of these couples probably should have talked out this stuff a lot sooner than they did. And they probably should work with each other to help each other decompress. But having a decompression outlet that doesn't really hurt anyone, except maybe Pat's when it comes to her over long-term health, but 27 years doesn't seem like she has any things, and she only smokes 3 cigarettes a day. I consider that not really impacting her health over too much, because 27 years and only 3 cigarettes. I wouldn't really say that's addicted. If she was smoking 3 packs, I would say yeah, but 3 a day, yeah, that's not too bad. Now, everything that Maria's done, yeah, no. That's a lot more destructive than them taking outlets to decompress. Like with mine, it's listening to music and of course we go into the gym. That's how I try to decompress from my work as a security supervisor. And all these other things with people in the episode. Yeah, Marie, you do not have the moral high ground here. I mean, that's basically the end of the episode, but it's like, no, Marie, you do not have the moral high ground. And there's not really much else to say about this episode. It's like, I don't remember much about the premise before this rewatch other than the fact that Pat had a secret. I do see myself rewatching this one outside of just the marathon watches, which is a lot more than I can say about some of these ones, because I got all of the ones right here, except for the first one. The first 2 episodes, yeah, I can see myself rewatching. And Faux Pas, I don't really see myself rewatching too much. Job for A Day for Peter, maybe not. Sister-in-Law, yeah, sounds like a couple of those ones, yeah. Most of the season I can see myself rewatching, but some of them is just like random though. But it's like, so yeah, I see. Just looking at this overall, I enjoyed the season more than I probably thought I was going to. I know it's weird to say that in penultimate instead of finale, but because the finale I do remember liking, but it's ones that I'd rather go back and watch episodes from the previous seasons as a whole, because even the best ones are just still a step down. Now, of course, we're reaching the end of the road, because next time it's going to be the finale, titled The Finale. I need a better title than that, just like a pilot. And that's going to be some fun conversation. And of course, after that, we got the end of the show little special that they did, which I think is on the DVD. I got it right here. Let me check. Yep, The Last Laugh. That'll be interesting to talk about. And then, of course, my VHS list for the series, which I still have to compile as of this recording, but that'll be a fun one. And then Raymond will be done. And of course, that is all going to start next time, everybody.